Hello and welcome back to our study of Peninei Halacha, the teachings of Rabbi Eliezer Melamed, Shlita. We are continuing along with our learning, Seder Tachanun May and Nefillat Apayim. We continue davening for Chayalei Tzva Haganah Yisrael, Refuah Shalem L'Chol Pitzuei Yisrael, and a safe return of our hostages. Our learning is dedicated to Nishmat, Sarah and Daniel Shem Ben Arav Doron V'Sheli Hashem Yakum Damo. Next chapter. Once we finish Shmona Esrei, we should go straight to Tachanun without any interruption or conversation. Because the more connected and flow-worthy they are with the Shmona Esrei and the completion of the Shmona Esrei and its repetition, the more receptive the supplications will be. So there are different nuschos, different versions of the Tachanun, depending on where you're davening. And the reason is because when most of the Jewish people were in the land of Israel and Babylonia, the custom was then everybody would supplicate in his own language. Was only towards the Middle Ages in the period of the Rishonim, that now people are exiled and spread all over the place. That's when we have different nuschos that pop up. So you have Nusach Ashkenaz, Nusach Sfard, Nusach Ari, etc., etc., etc. In addition, about 400 years ago, already before that, as I mentioned, the Nusach Hari, the Arizal had tremendous influence on the nuschos as well. So, for instance, even if you're a hardcore Nusach Ashkenaz dafner like myself, and you feel like you finally mastered being in a minyan that's Nusach Sfard, and then you walk into a Nusach Hari, and just when you think you have it, you don't have it. But that's a whole other question. In Israel, you see it much more spread out, and even what you would think is sort of an Ashkenaz minyan may have tastes of Nusach Sfard in it. Al pi kavanas ha'ari, noagim Nusach Sfard l'hosif alam l'fnei hamizmor shalom v'chas time vidui. So like we mentioned yesterday, the 13 attributes of mercy, so according to the Nusach Ari, and they do this in Nusach Sfard, they say the Mizmor before Tachanun of Vidoy, and you have the 13 attributes of mercy. Kedei, shemitocha kapara haba al yodam yagia mispal lasi shel Nefillat Apayim. We want, of course, to set the proper mode, and we want to have the proper atonement as we get to Nefillat Apayim. Leminag Ashkenaz, and the way we do it on Minag Ashkenaz, Rak b'meich sheni chamishi, only on Mondays and Thursdays. Shebehem mar b'myoser b'tachnun and poschim b'vidu v'yagimel midos. That only on Monday and Thursday when we have what we call the long Tachanun, then we open with Vidui and the 13 attributes of mercy. Aval b'shar hayomim omer miyad achar siyam atil Nefillat Apayim. But on a regular Tuesday, let's say, they would go straight to falling down on their heads as Nefillat Apayim without the long thing. V'adarabba. So, more so, you have to attach as much as possible the Tachanun portion to Shmona Esrei. Nefillat Apayim l'siyum hatefila. And according to the Temani minhag, the Yemenite minhag, we always put Tachanun right next to the tefillah. So maybe they don't have the long Tachanun. I haven't davened much Temani nusach recently. And even what he said, according to Minhag Ashkenaz, again, that's Israeli Minhag Ashkenaz. Our Minhag Ashkenaz, we don't say Yud Gimel Midos Rachamim. Most, let's say, modern Orthodox communities in the United States, we don't say Yud Gimel Midos Rachamim even on Monday and Thursday. B'Nefillat Apayim, Omer l'Nusach Sfard Mizmor Chav Hei Tehillim, l'Nusach Ashkenaz Sfard Chasidim Omer Mizravav. In Nusach Sfard, they have the 25th Psalm, and we have the 6th Psalm, Racham Echanun, etc., etc. On Mondays and Thursdays, we add further longer prayers and supplications. Because Mondays and Thursdays are considered days of Ratzon, and more tefillah is accepted. Perhaps that's why we learn Torah. There are other reasons, but that's one of the right reasons why we read Torah. For Omim Osabah Midan, one should stand up. Nusach v'huracham dischaber de shlosha zakenim gol Yerushalayim kemuva b'sefer Rishonim. So he quotes from the Abu Draham, the Ravan, the Manig, the Kobo, etc., very early Rishonim who discussed the foundations of our tefillah as we have it. But he says the prayer of Huracham was authored by 3 Zakenim who were exiled from Jerusalem. And therefore, when you look at different nuschos, in Vehurachim you don't find too much of a differentiation. Elish Svardim Hosif Lefan of Otachanunim. Svardim added a few supplications beforehand. Ashkenazim Hosifu Tachanunim Acharav, and we added Ashkenazim, that is, a few afterwards. Od Hevdel, another difference, is Shebenusach Sfard, Omer Mesa Tachanunim Hanusafim, Shosheni V'chamishi Achar Nefillat Apayim, V'nusach Ashkenaz Omer Mesa Lefnei Nefillat Apayim. Now the difference, he says, is that in Nusach Sfard, they add all the extra stuff after Nefillat Apayim, whereas we do it all leading up to Nefillat Apayim, we do it beforehand. So we touched on this a little bit yesterday, that if you, let's say you daven Ashkenaz, and you regularly say the Ashkenaz nusach, and you find yourself in a different minyan where most people are davening a different nusach. You could do whatever you wish in terms of davening. If you decide to follow your own minhag, which is different than everyone else's, well, don't stand out. Don't make a big show of it. And if you're in a place where they say the Yud Gimel Midas Rachamim and you're there, you certainly should join in, even if it's not your custom to say so. Let's say you say a longer version of Tachanun, and the minyan that you're at does not say that, and you haven't finished and already started to say Kaddish, then you should stop saying Tachanun, you should answer the Kaddish and go to that portion of Tefillah in which the tzibur is up to. Because missing out on some of the longer versions of the nusach that's found in Tachanun is not ma'akev, meaning if you even said a little bit of Tachanun, a little bit of supplication, then you're yotzei, but it's not more important than answering Kaddish or Tefillah b'tzibur. And if you'd like, you can certainly finish saying Tachanun when you complete davening. In general, it's a good question to know what is important to say with the tzibur. Not a lot of people are not familiar necessarily with the procedures. The best advice always is to come on time, or perhaps, as my father, Zechron Levracha, you would say, he would get to shul 10 minutes early, and I would always ask him, why do you have to come to shul so early? And he said, I have to catch up. He wasn't from the fast daveners, and the minyan davened a little quicker than he did, so he understood his speed, his limitations, and his capabilities, so he adjusted accordingly, which we have to do. So sometimes when people come late, or they prioritize the wrong things, but it's important to know Halacha, and that's why we learn things like this in this format. So thank you so much for joining us today, and we hope everybody has a good day, and continue davening Chalei Tzvah Yisrael, Yisrael, safe return of our hostages, and we learn in memory of Seren Daniel Shimon ben Harav Dorno V'Shelei Hashem Yikam Damo. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you here tomorrow.